Hello and welcome to Footballland, home of the world's first football-themed theme park. As you may or may not know, we have been given $1 billion to create a football-themed theme park in Qatar for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. My name is Anthony Richardson. I am the CEO of Footballland.
And my name's Mark Davison. I'm the Chief Ride Engineer of Footballland.
And I'm Ryan Baxter. And if you need it done, give it to me. I'll do it in Footballland.
At the beginning of every meeting, we like to look back on the rides we have already pitched or had pitched to us by guests and make a little advert. Mark, you've been working on an advert for the marketing team for a ride this week. Which ride have you chosen?
So I've chosen this week to do an advert for Marek Larwood's Hunger Games, which he came in and mentioned to us back in meeting 2.
Hardmen. I think it has to be as terrifying as possible. So you're looking at Roy Keane, Vinnie Jones, Stuart Pearce, Duncan Ferguson. What happens is you all stand in a circle, you put all the weapons in the middle, and you have to run and pick a weapon. These can be football related, and then you have to kill each other. It's for alpha males mainly, for alpha male psychopaths. The Hunger Games with football players as the competitors. Lineker will be a last resort, I suppose.
On the agenda this week, we have a couple of ride ideas, some facility ideas. We have an interesting guest coming into the meeting room to pitch us a very exciting ride. Really looking forward to that. So positive, but a negative first, a pretty debilitating negative. Ryan,
Sad news.
We have a problem with one of our existing rides.
It's Lee Catamol's petting zoo.
What could be the problem with that? It's quite simple, Ryan. You put your hand in the box,
Yep.
and is it a cat or is it a mole?
Or is it Lee Catamol himself, because he is in one of the boxes?
Lee Catamol or a cat or a mole. The simplest ride. There can't be a problem with that.
Well, there is, and the problem's quite significant. It hinges on people knowing who Lee Catamol is, and almost, nobody I've polled knows who Lee Catamol is.
He's a children's entertainer, isn't he?
I know who Lee Catamol is, but you ask the general public, and most people thought I was talking about Mark Clattenburg. They were going, oh yeah, the referee with the silly tattoos and the referee wife.
So when you say to people, you got to guess whether it's a cat or a mole, and you'll obviously know why because of the footballer, how are they reacting to that?
Well, when I say Lee Catamol's petting zoo, that obviously their mind immediately goes to a person that they know that sounds like Lee Catamol, rather than going to Lee Catamol, a man that they don't know. And so
gosh.
They're like,
But how would the petting zoo make sense in their eyes? Is it a cat or a mole, or
Well,
is it Mark Clattenburg? I mean, what? That doesn't make any
what
sense.
idiots.
cat or Battenberg.
Have you focus grouped a load of morons, Ryan?
No, yes, the public, yes, they are, but I quite like the idea of cat or Battenberg. I like Battenberg.
No, it can't be Battenberg. We've already bought 300 cats and 899 moles in a bulk order. They're live. They're in tanks.
Plus, we realised that there was a danger of putting your hand in a box and accidentally going up one of the animal's bottoms.
Finger up the bum, yeah.
I'm making loads of tiny pants.
He's made so many
for
pants.
cats,
He's made tiny
for
pants,
moles.
and
I'm
they're
not
different.
making pants for Battenberg cake. I mean, that's illogical.
Ryan, it's quite simple. I'm not killing 899 moles. Not again. All right? You need to go away and have a think about how to make this ride work. And we're not having Mark Clattenburg's is it a cat or is it some Battenberg? Because we're not mixing cats and cakes together, because if a cat eats cake, it will die.
Will it?
And I don't want to be putting pants on bits of Battenberg cake. That feels like a really massive waste of time.
Waste of time. You can't put your finger up a cake's bum.
Okay. For no specific reason that you've just mentioned, I just need to pop away and check on the cats.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. All right, you go and have a think, and we'll speak to you soon. Cheers, Ryan.
Great.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
All right,
cheers.
in a bit.
Footballland,
Footballland, that's another flipping name. Footballland, twist the arrow past the shame. Footballland is a mummy jamming name. Football in our games.
So, Anthony, I've got a ride idea which I want to pitch to you. It's called the Ali Dyer Waltzers Challenge.
Ali Dyer, the famous non-footballer who played football for about 54 seconds.
We're back in November 1996. Graham Souness is managing Southampton, and he gets a call purportedly from Liberian international superstar George Weah, and he says, "You've got to sign my cousin Ali Dyer. He's brilliant." Now, that call wasn't from George Weah. It was from Ali Dyer's mate. Ali Dyer was playing in the lower leagues of France and Germany. He'd struggled even at that level, so he really wasn't that great, but somehow he thought he could cut it at the top division. Graham Souness believed this call, signed Ali Dyer, didn't see him play. A week later, he's on the bench because they're quite injury hit. They're playing Leeds. Matt Letizia gets injured, so Graham Souness sends on this brand new player, Ali Dyer, supposedly George Weah's cousin. He wasn't. And that's the first time anyone, including Graham Souness, saw him play. Matt Letizia described it as he ran around like Bambi on ice. It was obvious he could barely kick the ball. He was an absolute catastrophe. He did nothing of any value, such that 53 minutes later, Graham Souness subbed him off again, and he never kicked another ball in the top division. In fact, he went to Gateshead after that and only lasted 8 games there. That's how bad a footballer he was. So it's an infamous story. So this ride, this Waltzers Challenge, celebrates that moment. It's a one person at a time ride, but it does only last a maximum of 54 seconds You've got to try and beat so if Ali Dyer played 53 minutes, each second represents a minute, and you've got to get to 54 minutes. It's manned by a Graham Souness lookalike.
Right.
This is vitally important as part of the ride. He will ask you, if you are George Weah's cousin, you must answer yes.
So that's the equivalent of you've got to be this high or over to ride this ride.
Yeah.
So as long as you say, yes, I am, you can go on.
As long as you say you're George Weah's cousin, you can go on. You could be 2 foot tall, and on you go. The Graham Souness validity check is slack, put it that way. So you sit in a single waltzer's car, the kind of barrels round, going up and down and round and round. You sit in a single waltzer's car and you're not strapped in. There is no safety harness, and the ride goes from naught to utterly mental in a split second. Okay, it will violently shake you all over the place, such that centrifugal force will almost definitely eject you and slam you into one of the cushioned walls. Yep. You're not cut out for the pace of this ride, but if by some miracle you last 54 seconds, then you have symbolically lasted longer than the real Ali Dyer's 53-minute appearance for Southampton in 1996.
Is there a knack to hanging on, or is it complete luck?
I think what we're looking to replicate is you are totally out of your depth here. No one is capable of being any good at this ride. If you want to cling on to the back wall of the waltzer car, the back support, if you want to lie down in a fetal position, you can try whatever you like. This is not going to end well for you. And if it does end well and you last 54 seconds, then you've symbolically won. So we give you a panini sticker of Ali Dyer. If you do fail in that you last less than 54 seconds, then I think we play recordings of George Weah tutting.
Okay, great. Well, I'm all happy with that. I'm ready to vote on that. All in favour of the Ali Dyer waltzers, say aye. Aye. Congratulations, Mark. It's a winner.
Good to celebrate an abject failure, I think. Just what is it that you want to do? We want to go Footballland, and we want to have a good time.
Right, we've got some engagement coming, Mark. We've got some engagement. People can engage with us. They can pitch a ride. They can even sponsor the Footballland car park like Matt Whitworth.
How do they do that?
You go on patreon.com/Footballland.
3 L's.
This week, slightly different in that we have a patron who has just signed up. Very excited. In the comments bit where you can pitch your ride, they haven't gone into too much detail. They've just written 3 words: downsize Fitz Hall. Downsize Fitz Hall, and that's it. That's the comment.
That's all it says.
So Fitz Hall was a centre-back, and I think he played for Watford.
Yeah.
His nickname was One Size Fitz Hall.
Well, yeah, that's very clever.
One of the better nicknames in football.
I enjoy it every time I hear it.
But I don't understand Downsize Fitz Hall. I don't understand what that is as a ride. Like, originally, I thought it was you have a Fitzhall and you've got to shrink him.
You've got to find him and make him smaller.
Maybe whittle him down. So maybe you have a wooden Fitzhall.
Yeah.
So you're all there just planing Fitzhall until he's a bit shorter. But that's not really a ride, is it?
Yeah. I mean, Fitzhall, it could be a building, couldn't it? It could be like a...
What, like Downton Abbey, Downton Fitzhall. So it's a big country house, but it's the embodiment of Fitzhall.
It's full of upstairs, downstairs type intrigue, the landed gentry and the servants below, but maybe downsize Fitzhall, it's all cast with children. Yeah, but contact us and let us know, and we'll discuss it in another meeting.
1, 2, 3, it's the international break. Grab your passport, don't be late. Don't nobody know, I don't want to go. It's the international break. Have you got an injury I could fake? Have you? Hey, I need one please, I don't want to go.
Mark, I am absolutely delighted to have our guest in the green room. Her name is Laura Kirk. She's the host of Teenage Diary podcast Revisiting. She's an Arsenal fan and she's a Twitter addict. She's been in Wayne Lineker's Fibreglass Testicle for only 35 minutes, so she's raring to go. She's fresh. Hello, Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Hello there. Hello. Thanks for having me. I'm just about getting comfy in here, actually.
Yeah, it's velvet inside. There's air holes to breathe, and you typed in the keypad an Arsenal-related trivia question you got straight away. We didn't have to wait for you. Thanks for knowing about Arsenal.
Yeah, you know your onions. It's good.
OK, let's go through the legals. Do you, Laura Kirk, agree to hand over your ride to Mark and Anthony at Footballland for posterity? And you're swearing on a copy of Shoot magazine from the year 2000. And to prove you've got a copy, who is it on the front cover?
It is Daniel da Cruz Carvalho, a.k.a. Danny.
Danny. What a great choice.
What an edition of Shoot magazine that was.
And I think he's not, but he probably would have preferred to have been topless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he riding a horse?
He is. But he has got a shirt on.
Of course he is.
Mid-game.
He's got his shirt on, riding a horse. Into the distance or towards the camera?
Towards the camera, because you wouldn't want to miss out on that beautiful face.
Sure.
Worth a fortune, that edition.
Right, Laura, would you like to tell us your idea for the ride? We're all ears.
I would love to. I'll start off by saying that I'm a big theme park fan. I've been to Alton Towers almost every single year of my life. I absolutely adore it, and I'd say a veteran of games like Theme Park World, Roller Coaster Tycoon. I've played things like that extensively. So what I've done is taken all that knowledge, all that experience of theme parks and rides and taken it and thrown it out the window. I'm not using any of that. Yeah. We're going totally blank canvas.
Like a jazz musician.
Bold. Pretty much, yeah. People have done things well in the past. I'm not interested in that. So... what we've got here is more an individual kind of challenge ride rather than a group. So this is all about individual glory. And so what we've got here is the Arsenal gauntlet of self-destruction. So how it works, this game is about emotion. I felt quite inspired by the England sort of Hall of Horrors that we had a couple of weeks ago. This is a
Tom
ride
Deacon's
about
ride,
yeah, that's the one. This is a ride about emotion, specifically hope, self-sabotage and then disappointment. So if you imagine something a little bit along the lines of the Gauntlet in Gladiators, that incredible 90s, early noughties show, the aim of the ride is essentially to get yourself from one end of a platform to the other while avoiding these swinging pendulums on which is mounted a self-destruct button. Now, if you hit the button, you are forced to endure a physical representation of every bit of nonsense that Arsenal have done to themselves in the past 2 decades or so. So, for example, you're running along this platform, you hit one of the pendulums by accident. First and foremost, you're knocked off the platform and you fall into a foam pit on either side. Right? Are we following so far? Does that make sense?
Yeah, following, yes.
The foam pit, however, is not a regular foam pit. Each bit of foam is made of Gunnosaurus's head. So you basically fall into a massive pit of decapitated Gunnosauruses, right? So that's
like bits of his body parts just swishing about this foam pit.
There's a tail,
or just his head. Lots of different heads.
It could be body parts. I think his tail, maybe his little claws, feet. So you fall into your foam pit. But in doing so, you also are forced to Endure, as I said, a physical representation of one of the many, many bits of nonsense that Arsenal have been through in the past 2 decades. So, for example, you're running through, you get hit by the pendulum, you accidentally hit the self-destruct button, and you are pushed off the platform by a massive red card, which is being brandished at you for various reasons. It could be a Xhaka tackle, it could be a David Luiz giving away a penalty, it could be the Jens Lehmann red card in the Champions League final, and you are knocked off. So the goal of this ride is to get from one end of the platform to the other without enduring one of the bits of nonsense, the bits of chaos that Arsenal have been throwing up for the past 2 decades.
That sounds ingenious, and I like the history. I like the red cards as well. I can feel like a giant Mike Dean / David Ellery. Let's have.
Yes.
Do you remember when there was that documentary about David Ellery and they mic'd him up and Tony Adams ran past him and called him a cheat?
Yes.
You could have David Ellery and Mike Dean. Although we've got to be nice to Mike Dean because obviously he's had a rough time recently. But I think he likes giving out red cards. So does David Ellery. Them on either side, but giant red cards. Like they're holding them up with both hands,
huge,
almost like toppling over with the weight of it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And and the best thing about this ride is that you could be knocked off for so many different reasons. So I was also envisaging a massive puffer jacket with a malfunctioning zip. So it comes down and you can't get out of this puffer jacket and you can't do the zip because it's broken. So you end up falling into the foam pit of Gunnosaurus.
Great. Yeah, that's very strong.
You're fired.
There has to be an incentive to this. So there has to be a kind of goal at the end. So you're running across this gauntlet. Say you get there, you get to hit the button, but it delivered something that only Arsenal fans really value. So I was thinking maybe a new kit, winning a Sky Sports Twitter poll. That's one thing we're very, very good at and enjoy. A fourth place trophy.
Pre-season trophy.
Yes.
Or a fourth place trophy. Pre-season trophy, yeah.
Emirates Cup. Community Shield. But also it could be, AFTV going bankrupt or maybe Twitter banning DT. That could be something that is delivered if you win this game effectively. So something very specific to what Arsenal fans enjoy that every other club looks at like, I don't really know why you keep going on about that.
Yeah.
You Arsenal fans seem to very much like David Ornstein, the journalist who brings scoops of Arsenal transfers, and everyone goes a bit mad over him. They do like him, and to be fair, seems like a really nice chap. Maybe just a silhouette of him in the sky that lights up with fireworks.
Yes.
Towards the end. That's probably the trophy you want, is when Ornstein has exclusive news of Kieran Tierney signing a new contract.
Yeah, I think maybe we could have like a klaxon noise that goes bow, 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 and then we get the scoop from David Ornstein when we've signed a new player who is injured, or perhaps we've actually managed to sell one of our players rather than gift them to another club. That could be a good reward at the end of it. So
on that note of getting rid of players, could Mesut Ozil be involved somehow, but in a very mysterious way? Like you're not even sure if he's there or not, but he's definitely earning a fortune, but no one quite knows where he is or what he's bringing to this ride.
The presence of Mesut, the presence of him, an overbearing presence in a way.
Just a fragrance, maybe a lingering...
fragrance of Ozil, the Ozil ooze.
Arteta came in, put the club in a spin, said Mesut's a bad shot. He sent him away while still on full pay, so he pays for the mascot. Mesut Ozil, now at Fenerbahce. Mesut Ozil, he's German but speaks Turkey.
One question, Laura. What would you sell? Because we're so commercially focused here. We're unashamed of it. We want the money. what would you sell in the gift shop? I'm talking key rings, I'm talking slinkies, I'm talking novelty rubbers, and I'm not talking condoms, I'm talking erasers.
So, I mean, the key feature of this ride is the self-destruct button, which Arsenal just can't get rid of. So what I would do is, on a key ring, and I'd charge a fortune for this, I would put that little red button in a glass box and sell it on a key ring.
Ah, yes.
So that it's, metaphorically hidden away, but you can still see it.
Yes.
Knowing that really at any time you could smash the box and hit the self-destruct button and go from 4-0 up to 4-all. But, that would sort of embody the ride in a sense that the self-destruct button is always there and you're always carrying it with you and you can always see it, but perhaps it's protected by a glass box.
Is there a sense amongst Arsenal fans that actually they know that moment of destruction is going to happen, so are they eager to get it over and done with? Is there a chance that they will do this game and just deliberately fail at the first hurdle because it makes it less painful than...
I think so, and I think there is also a massive appreciation for Gunnosaurus. So I'd actually say that as well as wanting to get the self-sabotage over nice and quickly, most fans would be happy to dive into a foam pit of Gunnosaurus parts. So that's probably part of it as well.
When you were talking about that pit earlier, I went to a slightly macabre place in that if it's bits of the Gunnosaurus costume, what if one of the bits had the guy still in it? So there's lots of Gunnosaurus heads and one of them actually has his head in it. I mean, it could still be alive. I mean, that would be a kind of...
still alive. And it's just a nice, you jump in there and you do find him and you can say, oh, you Gunnosaurus, the real one. He says, yeah, I am. But obviously, I don't have a job there anymore because Mesut Ozil left.
Yeah.
I think
have that chat with him.
That would add a little bit of maybe fear to the game, and then perhaps we would be forced to endure that moment of self-sabotage rather than doing it to ourselves. I like it. It would also, we hold that man in such high esteem. It would just be a chance for everyone to meet him as well, even if it was just his head. It would be nice to meet the real Gunnosaurus, and I'm happy to do that in a ride, in a sort of foam pit.
Yeah, in a foam pit. Not knowing whether or not that's just his head or he's alive. That's the perfect way to meet someone, because it's always such a relief and so uplifting when you do realise somebody is alive, isn't it?
I'm just imagining headless Tinder, where you're just scrabbling around in a ball pit full of severed heads, but you choose the one you want to date and hope that there's a body attached, and
or you carry the head around in your handbag, and that's how you date.
Yeah, romantic.
Yeah. And if you don't like that head, it's not very heavy, so you can always just get another one.
Exactly.
Lovely. Right, well, I think I'm ready to vote on this, Mark.
Yep, me too.
So all in favour of Laura Kirk's The Arsenal Way, say aye. 3, 2, 1.
Aye.
Aye.
Brilliant. It's in.
That's a real relief. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for that.
Very strong. I think Arsenal fans are going to love it, and people who hate Arsenal are also going to love it. Because
it's win-win for everyone.
It's a crowd pleaser. It just is. You can enjoy it as an Arsenal fan, although admittedly in a more painful way. But it's just a gift for other clubs as well.
Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah.
Arteta came in, put the club in a spin, said Mesut's a bad shot. He sent him away while still on full pay, so he pays for the mascot. Mesut Ozil, now at Fenerbahce. Mesut Ozil, he's German but speaks Turkey.
Ryan, you're back. You're beaming from ear to ear once again. You have solved Lee Cattermole's petting zoo. What have you done?
I've got one. You didn't like Clattenburg's Cat or Battenberg, and so I've got one more for you. Ricky van Wolfswinkel, Wolf or a Winkle.
Right. Okay. Ricky van Wolfswinkel, the Dutch player.
That's him.
How many
2 caps?
2 caps. Okay.
2 caps.
2 caps.
More than Lee Cattermole.
So internationally acclaimed. Yeah, he'll be known. All right.
And
a Winkle.
Yes, I know what you're thinking. Not that winkle. Don't go there.
His own winkle popping out of a box.
No. It's a periwinkle, a common periwinkle, which is a little sea snail.
A sea snail?
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay.
Is it a wolf or is it a sea snail?
Quite an easy game.
That isn't that hard, is it? I mean,
Put your hand in a box.
I could probably do that without even touching it. Just sense the movement. Is it a wolf or is it a sea snail?
Well, I thought you were going to go there. So what I've done is I've made the holes really small, so you can only put a finger in, and probably only to the knuckle. So you're just
Perfect
touching
for a
it.
wolf to bite off. Yeah.
I'm way ahead of you there. So wolves, quite angry, don't like being in boxes, a bit like cat, but quite different because they're a wolf, do a lot more damage. So I've sedated them.
Right.
I've sedated the wolves, but obviously there's a textural difference between a sea snail and, a wolf.
Quite a huge textural difference, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was like, right, I need to find sort of a sedative sort of substance and a slimy substance at the same time, and essentially I landed upon Vicks. Everybody likes Vicks. Everybody remembers Vicks. Vicks is very, very, you're a little bit under the weather as a kid. Mom comes along, she puts Vicks on your chest, Vicks on your back, you're off, sleep. And you can't tell the difference between a wolf covered in Vicks and a periwinkle.
Same amount of slime.
It's exactly the same amount of slime.
The Vicks chucks off quite a lot of menthol vapours, so we're going to have to dunk the snails in Vicks as well. Otherwise, you won't be able to get close to the wolf box because of the fumes.
That's fine. We'll just put it on the shell.
Okay.
The periwinkle will be completely unaffected. Another interesting thing that I found when you cover a wolf in a lot of Vicks, and I mean a lot of Vicks, one of those really big tubs, after a while it goes hard anyway. The fur sort of all mats together and it makes a sort of shell-like coating.
Great.
So lovely. I mean, apart from the size issue, is it a wolf or is it a winkle? I think that's going to be... I can imagine Ricky Van Wolfswinkel's beaming face on the side of the petting zoo. The only problem we've bought all of those cats and all of those moles, and I don't want to kill them.
No need to kill
Mark's
them.
made all of the pants. So
no
what
need
are we
to
going to do with
throw out
them?
the
Load of
pants.
tiny pants.
It's totally fine. Just like when they make Hollywood movies, there's always two of them. There's the good one and then there's the rubbish one, right?
Yeah.
You've got Armageddon and then you've got Deep Impact. It's always there's one and then the other, and the rubbish one comes out first. And so we maybe just shift Lee Catamole's petting zoo before Ricky Van Wolfswinkel, but it's obscured, and maybe the occasional family sort of wanders in, and as a feel of Lee the mole and the cat, and Lee will be fine. Lee's used to being obscured.
He appears on none of the marketing. Yeah. Well, this is great. I think you've solved it, Ryan. You've had a blinder there. I think just for completion, we should probably build the Mark Clattenburg cat or Battenberg, and have the 3 parks, but the main one is definitely going to be Ricky Van Wolfswinkel, Wolf or Winkle. Great.
All right, then.
Thanks for that. You've sold it.
All right.
Great. Cheers.
I'm going to Footballland, to Footballland, to Footballland. I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
It's not built yet.
Okay, so that was a wonderful meeting. Just 1 point, really, actually, Ryan, if you could have a look to see how many Graham Souness lookalikes you can find in the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
We need about 20 or 30 of them just to work shift. They can be anything from exact doppelgangers to just people in a curly wig. So, can you have a look at that, if that's all right?
Yeah, moustaches.
Moustache, I'd say, is a prerequisite, yes, but either gender is fine and any age. If you can find a 4-year-old Graham Souness, then let's hire him.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks very much. All right. Okay. Yep. Meeting adjourned.
All right.
Meeting adjourned.
Yep.
Meeting
All right,
adjourned.
then.